So we went and saw Godzilla vs. Kong. The first 2 minutes of this review will be completely spoiler-free. No stress if you haven't seen the film. If you still want to watch the film after a spoiler-free review, feel free to stick around.
It's your money.
Or stop if you want to watch the film. Or maybe don't. You know, you
I
don't have
envy
to.
Americans with HBO Max because in a week they just get to watch for subscription.
They can just
no
watch it at
extra
home.
costs.
Yeah,
Which
then
would've been great.
We'll get into spoilers then, but we're going to give our initial thoughts if you still want to see the movie. We'll see. Alex, thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong?
Alright, so I was like easily the most excited one going into this because I like
Easily.
2014's Godzilla
And
I like Kong Skull Island. I think and Godzilla 2 is fine. Like no, Godzilla 2 is average at best.
Average,
Like
okay.
I can watch it to get through it, and I did rewatch it just so I can be fresh up for this film. Waste of time, but I did it.
All right, so
and-
good contrast. You've seen all the lore.
Seen all the lore.
You're in.
Yeah.
Me, nothing.
You seen Kong?
I've seen Kong.
You,
So
so you saw Kong. Steph
everyone
and
knows
I,
who Kong
I've
is.
seen, we've seen nothing.
none of
Okay,
it
Yeah.
they're
at
the
all.
opposite.
What do you guys think?
I went into it being like, okay, how much of this am I going to be able to pick up on what happened in the last ones? There was only one thing I can't remember. Like I was like, what the
Want
fuck
me to
is
explain
that?
it to you?
We'll get to that in a minute because
Alright,
it's
cool.
technically a spoiler for one moment. I really thought this thing was nothing. There was absolutely nothing
It was
to
just
this
garbage.
film.
It was garbage.
It
really.
was. I went in hoping they take the Fast and Furious approach, or Hobbs and Shaw at
Yeah.
least,
Yeah.
where it was like, we're not going to take this seriously. It's going to be fun, over the top action.
Dumb fun.
And this fell into the trap that all of these fucking movies fall into, where they have the thing that we pay to go see, which is Godzilla and Kong fighting, but we only get maybe 30 minutes of that, and instead we focus on these human characters that they don't develop. They
But
throw
people
in
really
there.
want some plot.
Yeah,
So,
it's like when they make a horror movie and they put
You
in
hardly
characters.
see the.
Yeah, and they put in these characters and have you spend most of the time with these characters like who are just there to die. That's what this movie is.
They
these
just
characters,
did and
but they
said
don't die.
nothing.
yeah.
Sorry, I don't care.
They were
Fuck
so
this.
two-dimensional.
Oh my god. Like, okay, overall, what we think, like, just quickly, so we can
Yeah.
actually talk spoilers. I thought, I'm giving it a 1. It was.
I'm giving a 1.5.
Half.
Half.
Tom and Jerry's was better for me.
Really?
I'm
Okay,
still tossing
I
up.
liked
I'm
it.
probably 1.5.
I found
I
the
wanna give it
last
1.
30 minutes of this film.
That's the
There's
one
a
part.
chunk. Yeah, so the last
Well,
30
no, not the whole 30 minutes. One chunk
So,
of the 30-minute
there's,
period.
There's
I
a
liked.
part in the middle where I enjoyed, and then something happens after that which killed it for me. And then there's the first 20 minutes of the last 30 minutes.
There you go.
I was like, this is what I actually been waiting to see. It sucks I had to sit through all that other bullshit
Yeah.
to get to here, but this is still cool. And yes, I'm kind of glad I'm in the biggest cinema in Adelaide to watch this part here.
Yeah.
Other than that, this film is a complete waste of time. As someone who likes the other ones,
You liked him, yeah.
this one is garbage. This is just a really embarrassing.
Attempt.
It's the Avengers. It's
Embarrassing
pretty much
is
the
the way.
Avengers of this cinematic universe they've
Mm.
been making since 2014,
Yeah.
and it's like no one cared.
Yeah. Like I was like, who wrote this? I was like, what are the humans doing?
It's got
Like-
it's just.
Should we call out who wrote it?
Yeah, who wrote it?
I'm going to have a look.
What
I
what
know
are you
Adam-
doing? Like what
Adam
are you trying
Wingard
to do?
directed it.
Let's
and
get
he
into
didn't write
spoilers
anything.
here because you just mentioned something that I hadn't even processed until you just said it. No one we watched in this film died
Yeah, except
other
for the
than
bad-
one bad girl side character and her dad.
Yeah.
Who?
And
So
the Asian guy.
So the two
token.
bad guys
Yeah.
and the main bad guy's daughter, they're the only 3 who died.
They got crushed
So-
in the
They got crushed
uncrushable
in the
car.
hand.
The
In the,
villains.
crushed in the uncrushable car. Can we get into spoilers so I can?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Let's.
so
Jesus
I just want to
Christ.
throw out Adam Wingard, who directed such hits as Death Note 2017,
Oh.
Blair Witch 2016, The
Okay.
Guest starring Alexander Skarsgård,
Oh no.
VHS,
Oh.
The ABCs of Death,
Blair Witch 2016 is all I need to hear.
yeah, and
Oh,
Your Next.
ABCs of Death is alright.
Your Next is a film I enjoy. It's a very enjoyable home invasion, like horror film.
So he's a horror director.
He is
Yeah.
a horror
Getting
director,
from this.
which is just super weird because why get him? This is what WB do, and it worked for them with Kong, and this is what Marvel do. And Marvel Marvel normally stick the landing with this, but they did
when
it
they
with
bring
Kong.
in like
It worked
genre
Kong.
directors.
They bring in these fucking indie directors and give them such a big tentpole film. Do you know why they do that? So what? Because these are indie directors who don't have the confidence to speak up to a studio, so the studio can control them and then make the shitty film that the studio want to make.
Makes sense.
It
and
is,
if
it
they
is
don't-
incredible that the Nolan films worked.
And when they get a director, which we'll talk about after, can you reset that camera?
Yep.
When they get a film that
Nailed that.
when they get a film that a director who has a vision and is very outspoken, tell me when you're doing it.
Done.
All right. When they get a director who won't succumb to the machine, I'm going to call them the fucking machine.
Cool.
When they have a director that won't conform to what they want to do, they fire them or they just chop up their vision. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work with this film. I'm getting mad. Sorry, I'm getting mad.
Can I bring
No,
up?
we should
Can
all
I
get
bring
mad.
up? Can I bring up one thing that makes me mad? 5 writers worked on this film.
Yeah.
Oh no.
5. 2 credited for screenplay and 3 credited for
Yeah.
story.
And they never spoke to each other throughout the entire writing process.
I don't think they all worked on the same script.
They wrote the same dialogue, like the same conversation without ever.
Yeah,
coming together.
honestly.
Yeah, the writing was bad. The
Right,
characters were
atrocious.
two-dimensional.
Yeah.
There was just no point to the plot was ever changing.
There
There was nothing good
Alright,
about
the biggest thing with the motivation is what was the actor, the Swedish actor?
Alexander Skarsgård.
His character at the start is in a basement, does not care,
That was Alexander Skarsgård.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Even comprehend that.
he doesn't care. He's disinterested.
Yeah, he's out.
And then in the next scene, like they convince him, sure, but in the next scene, he's leading the charge.
He's like-
the main.
he's their
guy.
Ric
Has a
Flag.
shave,
He
has
is
a
in-
haircut,
Yeah.
and he's good to go.
and
He's ready.
he's pushing. He drives that expedition.
Yeah.
the one that he was totally disinterested in.
Yeah.
and was just gonna
Had to be
a-
convinced to even be a part of.
Yeah, and he was just a part of it, and then he's the driving force.
And he's like, we have to be able
yeah,
to
and
do
he's like,
this.
we're taking Kong.
What stakes do you have in this?
I
dude?
feel like they
care
meant
5
that, I
seconds
feel
ago.
like they wanted to have a character arc for him where he was scared of Kong when he's on the boat.
They
you can see
did
he's scared.
try that.
And then at the end, it's like, oh, I'm heroic now because I will
Yeah.
drive a ship over Kong, then run away.
He's
Yeah.
gonna restart his heart with
Yeah.
the ship, which was the
Jesus
whole
Christ.
thing was just-
Okay, so do you want to talk about your first disappointment in this film, which was the end of the first confrontation between Kong and Godzilla?
Oh, my
Oh.
first
You take that.
disappointment for the film
Okay.
began.
No, I mean, in regards to the
yeah,
fighting,
The major disappointment.
because the fact that the fight scenes were not incredible like they should have been.
Oh, they were. Some of them were incredible.
Some bits of them.
They were really
Beats.
good, but I mean, it
The
was
start of the final
They couldn't
confrontation
save. They
was
couldn't.
good.
They couldn't
Mm.
save. Oh no,
Hong
I
Kong-
thought the boat fight was good until they go, "Let's play dead," and then Kong goes, "Oh yeah," and they're dead. And
My
it's like,
whole
Yeah, they all just pretend to be dead.
my whole thought process for the entirety that they were in the middle of the ocean and when they were up in the Antarctic was they just want to show off how they spent all their budget on making Kong look wet and look covered in snow.
Yeah.
So like my
That was
thing-
the whole thing.
and
my-
Kong looks sad picking up snow.
Yeah.
That got me.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
got me.
So like also when Kong jumps from boat to boat, I just think those boats wouldn't survive that.
Oh
when
no,
he
those
jumps-
boats are fucked.
Because he jumps to the aircraft carrier, but in the middle he like lands on like just a cruiser,
Like a
Yeah.
battleship.
and he destroys it. Like I'm just thinking, he just killed 20 people in that room.
20?
he's our
that it
hero.
crashed.
He killed that whole boat.
If the ship sunk,
Yeah.
hundreds.
But
yeah.
guys, when he threw the jet at Godzilla, the guy escaped, so he's fine.
Oh yeah, and then he
Oh,
went and landed on
okay.
Godzilla after his parachute.
yeah.
Oh
So
my
the one
God.
thing you're thinking is how many humans are dying here,
All
and then they
humans.
take the time for him to throw a jet at Godzilla and to show the pilot eject.
Yeah.
So no one died. It's okay.
No, it's okay. The
No
guy's
one died.
safe.
It's
He
like,
ejected.
what about when Kong landed on said helicarrier or jet carrier,
Aircraft
and
carrier.
wherever he landed, anyone underneath him just insta
Yeah.
dead.
Dude,
And then meanwhile, I was going to say we've got the crackpot trio.
meanwhile,
The
We got the
crackpot
crackpot
trio.
trio.
Oh my God, yes, the
I didn't
conspiracy
care about Millie
theorists.
Bobby
Oh,
Brown.
no.
Julian Dennison was completely wasted.
What did they do? They didn't do
they
anything.
were there. It's like
Nothing.
you've got
No, okay. So what they did was they referenced something I assumed from the old film
which
with
one was that?
the skull thing.
Oh,
I didn't know
so
what
that
that
was
They
the end-
told us that
That
basically.
Yeah,
that was
I didn't know what
the
that was.
post-credit scene. So Godzilla 2 is Godzilla basically fighting King Ghidorah,
Yeah.
which is Monster Zero.
Oh
with
no,
the three-headed
sorry.
dragon.
You're talking about the actual skull. When they get into the transport thing to go to Hong Kong,
Oh, s-
which is bonkers, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, it's just a
Skull
They
random
Crawlers.
reference, what the fuck?
Those
is
are
that?
from
random
Kong Skull
Hyperloop.
Island.
Ah,
Those
okay,
are the
okay.
creatures on Skull Island that Kong fights, and the human have to be scared of.
But yeah, there's a random super advanced hyperloop.
Like
and
Elon
Elon
Musk
Musk
they
running
should be
under
dead.
the planet.
worked on
Doesn't
this.
explain that.
They're like they purely needed a way for these 3 insignificant characters to get all the way from Florida to Hong Kong
Oh,
without
God.
it being a
Yeah.
whole deal.
And they're like, also, they built Mechagodzilla. They can build Mechagodzilla.
Oh,
now.
we haven't even
They
got
can
into
build a
that part.
hyperloop halfway across the planet underground.
So-
that no one
These
knows
guys
about.
are amazing. They're cybernetic stuff.
Chris,
Also, they're a cybernetic company. I didn't see one cybernetic thing other than the psychic link
Well-
which isn't even cybernetic. It's actually just using the skull's DNA.
You tell anyone that Mechagodzilla's in this movie and they think it's Cyborg Godzilla, surely. Like,
Oh.
not
So-
its own creation.
so
Like,
yeah, so you knew Mechagodzilla was in the film.
yeah, and I thought,
I didn't.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
the only thing I knew going into this film was that in interviews that I for some reason saw a quote from, they said there are 2 major fights between Godzilla and Kong, at which point I went, wow, you just said that out loud? Okay. And then the other thing was they said, and there will be a winner. And I went, bullshit.
Yeah, and technically there was did Godzilla win? I guess.
Alright,
That-
well, look.
Kong died pretty much.
That sums up the way I want to sum up this movie, which is just it lies to you. It
Mm.
lies to you
Yeah.
at every corner. The start of the movie, they tell you Godzilla wants to kill Kong. The first time they fight, Godzilla has a chance to kill Kong,
all chance to kill
walks
Kong.
away.
Yeah, because like there can
Yeah.
only be
That's
one
actually, you
alpha
make a really
titan.
good
Yeah.
point. That's
Mm.
And
exactly what it
They,
is.
And
they
they
touch on
tell-
this in
yeah.
Godzilla 2, where Godzilla's like the alpha titan.
Right.
And the
He's
big complaint with
big boy.
Godzilla 2 was because by then we know that this is a shared universe. So
Yeah, so
Kong's,
all these other people are here.
Kong's out here. And then everyone's like, so what happens is Ghidorah comes up, becomes the alpha, and then all these other
Mm.
kaiju or titans, whatever, appear and start wreaking havoc.
It's like Mothra and shit, isn't it?
Yeah. Rodan, Mothra,
Mm.
a rhino, I'm pretty sure, a turtle. I don't know.
Sure.
And
Kaiju
then,
are fucking weird, man.
and then everyone's criticism was, well, Kong's in this universe. Kong's the title. Where's Kong when all
Why
these
wasn't
titans are
he
coming out?
here?
And the beginning of this film, they reference that. So that
Is that
cleared
why
that
he
up.
wanted to get out?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know anything of why anyone did anything. for
Yeah,
this
no.
movie.
There's no
Right.
reason for anything.
So
Because
yeah.
every time the movie told me something, it wasn't true.
It,
No.
it does the thing that is bad practice when you're writing something.
I
And
got
it
really
does
sad.
it does the opposite. Oh no, it does the same thing as Tom and Jerry actually. It assumes the audience is the dumbest
Yeah.
member of the
It's
audience.
trying to trick
Yeah.
you the whole time.
Yeah.
The entire time it is trying to pull one over on you
the
and
Las
be
Vegas thing, especially.
like it's like, oh man, we have to call back to this one line that we made and we have to make it absurdly clear that we are calling back to that one thing we referenced back there.
I honestly, at the first 30 minutes of the film happened, and I was just so like, I was just gutted.
It was
I just
nothing.
like, I was expecting more, like more. I was expecting them to have more fun with this. Instead, this reminds me of just Bay's Transformers, where
Mm.
like, I mean, I find enjoyment out of them because they're so dumb.
Th-
I'd
those
say
are
that-
those are Fast and Furious dumb fun.
I'd say they're better than this. This was
Yeah.
just truly bad.
It was just a waste of my time. I don't think anyone should bother seeing it.
Honestly,
Like-
when you said
Understand.
afterwards you had considered getting up and leaving, I went,
Yeah.
I probably would have done the same.
I did,
Oh,
like,
if we were gonna get, I would have come.
if we
Yeah.
weren't podcasting afterwards, I might have
Yeah.
left and gone home.
Also, I gotta say, the second we're like 10, 15 minutes into the... no, 10 films... Like 5 to 10 minutes into this film, and it cuts to black, and there's an audio playing of a guy saying, welcome back to the podcast. I went, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Everything is doing this now.
Yeah.
Everything is a podcast.
I was hurt.
It was so
as
average.
a fan of the other ones, or like I found enjoyment in the other ones.
Yeah.
More so 1 and 2, especially Kong. Kong's my favorite out of all of them because Kong knew how to have fun.
Kong
Kong's
is
characters
very fun.
weren't very deep, but they were likable at least.
Yeah, like I don't remember that movie well, but I remember John C. Reilly. I remember Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, I liked them. That was good.
Yeah, they had, and like the main villain in this film, I hate that Mechagodzilla's in this film. By the way, it reminds me so much.
It's such
of-
a, hey, you guys came here for this, but
we're
what
gonna have to
about
fight.
this?
It was Batman
You
v
said-
Superman.
Yeah, Batman v Superman with Doomsday.
But Batman v
Yeah.
Superman's better than this. I
Mm.
like Batman v Superman way more than this film.
Yeah.
But this was just like, and Mechagodzilla didn't even look good visually.
No,
Like, I'm not talking about his design was
shocking.
awful.
Yeah.
It looked weirdly skinny.
It was really thin.
But then on top of that, with the design already being bad, just the CG on it looked awful.
It just didn't hold up.
And
did.
then, I mean,
I did notice some budget cutting, like corners cut as well. There was a shot just before you meet Skarsgård. there's a establishing shot of the university, and it's so vastly different, like in quality,
Than
that
the
I
rest
was
of the
like,
movie.
that is stock footage. That is
Right.
old stock footage.
Yeah.
Because it was like grainy and it looked terrible, and then it cut to inside and it was back to crisp, incredible HD.
Yeah. What do you want to say? Want to wrap this up?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, Alex. All right, the the Kong getting resuscitated for the big end fight. Now this is the big end,
Yeah.
because Kong. We haven't seen Kong against Mechagodzilla because Godzilla has just defeated Kong.
So
So wait a minute. What happened? So, Alex, run me through what happens. So Godzilla defeats Kong,
Yeah, Godzilla beats up Kong.
and then
pretty
what
much
happens?
kills him.
almost.
Oh,
Almost
no, he
kills
doesn't
him.
die. though.
Again,
No,
His
doesn't
heart is
commit.
slowing.
his heart's slowing down, so he's almost dying.
Alright,
He's
so
slowly dying.
Kong's succumbing from his
Yep.
scratch wounds, his
Yep.
bashing,
Sure.
his like his open wounds. He's bleeding.
Yeah.
He's succumbing to his wounds, and his heart stops due to that.
Yeah.
And then what do?
We resuscitate him with a ship.
We restart his heart.
We restart his heart.
And then expect the
All of his wounds are
incredibly
healed, by
Just
the way.
resuscitated.
expect the incredibly injured Kong, who was just beaten by Godzilla, to then go and help beat the thing that's currently beating
Oh,
Godzilla.
for
Also, I
God's
love
sake.
just the dumbness of like, oh, Kong's heart stopping. What do we do? Oh, like those medical paddles, electric.
Like
electric to the
CPR.
heart equals heart starts. So let's electrocute his heart.
I did
It was
look.
just-
If I was to say something was cool, I did think it was cool how Godzilla charged his axe when he hit Mechagodzilla.
That one moment.
I mean,
I
the
thought,
entire
I thought
axe
I
thing.
that
find-
was- yeah, the axe was ridiculous.
So the other
Dude,
thing
I
that-
laughed
the
when he
entire
put,
hollow earth, and then Kong
putting
finds
the axe in the
throne.
slot
Kong's,
made me laugh.
Kong's
Yeah.
wireless charger.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
Kong's wireless charger for the axe.
Yeah,
Fucking-
anyway, can we move? Can
Yeah,
we
so
Yeah,
we've
stop?
given
sorry,
too
stop.
much attention
Other
to
little
this
dumb
movie
things.
already.
Godzilla blasting a hole all the way through to Hollow Earth, and
Yeah.
then it just working like a tunnel and not needing any kind of
Not needing the big
dimension
gravitational
warping,
switch shit.
yeah, anything like that. It's like, oh, they can just yell at each other from
Yeah.
each side. Fucking
So
stupid.
they
Stupid.
built up these cars to be these magical cars that can go through this thing, and then again, it's just.
And they do an
normal tunnel.
incredibly good visual when they go through it. I
Yeah.
thought that whole sequence was really cool.
Yeah, that
Oh my
yeah.
god.
So half star,
half star.
1 star,
I want to give it a 1 now.
1 star, 1.5. My 1.5 comes
for the-
from watching
yeah.
the other films.
Fair enough.
Because
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
I
even
just have a
enjoy
little
it.
bit of attachment
To
to it,
Kong.
but I'm
I
still
hated
gonna
it.
sit here
It's a
and say
one
it's shit.
Yeah.
I also hated
I-
how they tried to humanize both Kong and Godzilla
Yeah.
with like emotions. As like you look at Godzilla
Did
and
Godzilla
like
smile at one point?
yeah,
Yeah.
so he like smiles at one point, and the part when he does charge up his axe, it's like him being like, "I've got you," and it's like,
As-
"What the?"
As someone who's
Anyway.
watched the other two Godzilla films, we've never gotten that much of a close up in Godzilla. It was weird.
It was
Yeah.
really weird.
Ugly.
Anyway, that's
Moving
just
on,
I want to talk
moving
about
on.
a better film.